journey started, I was very much focused on my needs. And it made me doubt whether God really called me. And as the time progressed, this focus on the needs made me very reluctant to speak to people about my calling. But then we had the training in January, and lo and behold, Francois entered, and he started sharing about the vision and about what God called me for. And that started changing my heart to the extent that I could really speak to someone about my calling, articulating that calling, sharing the calling. And it made me think of Matthew 6:33, where Jesus mentions us thinking about the kingdom and His righteousness, and then He will provide the rest. Because I'm older than most of the interns, most of those that's been called, and my needs are different. And that's my focus on the needs. But God is like, come here, focus on my kingdom, focus on my righteousness. That's what you should focus on. And I changed that, and probably the second or third person that I called, I saw this businessman, and I sat down with him, and he asked me to explain how this works, my calling, and I explained it to him. And then he asked me, he said, how are you going to do this? And I looked at him, and how are you going to do what? It's like, am I going to give you that money? And it was a fairly large sum of money that he wanted to give. So I pulled out the debit order, and I'm like, you signed the debit order. And as he's signing this debit order, this guy smiles, and his wife sits next to him, and he said, Ewan, I want to tell you something. He says, either you're lucky or God is busy with something in your life. And I'm like, I think God is really busy with something in my life. It's not luck. But why would you say that? And he said, well, in December, I sat down with my wife, and I looked at my giving, where I give. And I told my wife that I feel that the Lord tells me that I will give to the first one that comes and asks me. I will help that person, and you that one. And I was just so touched to understand that God's gone ahead of me in preparing people, in preparing the finances, in preparing their hearts to participate in this calling that I've got. Now, since I've been involved in ministry partnership, the relationships that I've got with my partners has developed. It's become something special. It's become a ministry field for me where I can really build into their lives, into their businesses. And that's something that I'm really grateful from God for doing that I can actually speak to people, pray for people, be involved in their lives, because they prepared to give their finances, times, prayers for the ministry, for the kingdom. And I'm so grateful that the Lord opened up that field for me. I'm Ewan, and I'm the son of the Most High.